Testing, 1, 2, testing. Great, thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Good morning. But before we even start, I would just like to make an announcement that there is I think it's black Lincoln SUV out in the parking lot announcing to everybody that its alarm is on and will not stop. So if any of you have a Lincoln SUV, if you better go there before your battery goes. Now, I am Vicki Warden, the worship associate for this beautiful morning. Like you, I am grateful to be a part of West Shore, a spiritual home for all who are in sympathy with Unitarian, Universalist principles and values. We don't care about differences in religious backgrounds, age, ability, race, ethnicity, gender identity, or sexual orientation. We strive to be a multicultural community in the true sense of the word, and we welcome you to embrace these values with us. We extend a special welcome to newcomers. If you're here in person, be sure to stop by the Welcome Center. If you haven't already done so, it's out in the hallway. If you're joining us via YouTube, our membership and engagement coordinator, Diane Elkhorn, would like to reach out to you. Her contact information is being added to the chat as we speak. Each Friday, we receive the e-news about events and activities going on during this next week in our community, but I do have two special notes for this morning. This fall, West Shore is offering a course that aims to support adults in their spiritual growth. It's called UU Wellsprings. We're looking for about 10 people to sign up who are interested in exploring the theological roots of Unitarian Universalism, reflecting on their own spiritual understandings and engaging in spiritual practice. The group will meet twice a month with both Reverend Makar and Megan Ross involved in the leadership. Let us know as soon as you can if you are interested in this program. There will be a retreat to get things started, and it will be held on September 17th, so let us know soon if you are interested in this program. A second event to spotlight is our annual in-gathering service to be held on September 11th. This is going to be a very special service, for the first time featuring the music of the Solid Brass Ensemble from Lorain County, 8-member ensemble who will provide music for us. In-gathering is also the time every year when we observe our beautiful water celebration ritual. Be sure to bring a small container of water with you to church so that you may participate. This water should represent something personally memorable and valuable to you. Following this service will be a fun, all-ages picnic. Join us for food, music, a balloon water toss, a bouncy house, fresh cotton candy, and are you ready for this? Pie throwing at the senior minister. I don't know why he agreed, but he didn't ask me. We are also recruiting volunteers for a time commitment of no more than 45 minutes on that day. Could be less depending on the event for which you volunteered, but please reach out to Dorothy Richards to find out more. Once again, welcome. We're very, very glad that you are here. And now from the words of Catherine Callahan. As the chalice is lit, let us come together into the sacred space that we have created. Let the cares of the day fall away, and know that here is a place for quiet reflection, for a pause in our lives, for breathing into our true selves. Let what is said and felt here add richness to the dimensions of our lives and to our spiritual practices.
That's the sound of a growing church, right? Isn't it? Let us witness now to the unity of our spirit by saying together our unison affirmation words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio su ley. Este es nuestro magnífico convenio, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. We come to this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We bore the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all.
Good morning. You are here on a very special Sunday as we celebrate our very first annual Blessing of the Backpacks. And we begin this ritual with an invitation for our learners of all ages to come forward and meet Reverend Makar up here at the table. If you didn't bring a backpack with you, that's okay. Just come on down if you're a learner. Maybe you're starting kindergarten or first grade, high school or college. Maybe you're a career changer over 50. Come on down. As Unitarian Universalist writer Michelle Richards says so well, the start of school is a life transition that can be stressful for children, youth, and adult learners, or teachers and administrators, some of whom will be in new classrooms with new teachers, new peers and schedules, sometimes even in a new building. So as a Unitarian Universalist community, we can help by offering rituals to boost self-confidence and mark the time as something more than just a time to get new clothes, shoes, and school supplies. So this is what we are doing right now. The learners have come forward, and we will bless them in their school endeavors and support them through a key transition in life.
We are going to do a responsive reading right now. So I want you to say with me, love is with me. Is with me. Thank you. So the responsive reading begins. When it is night, the night before school, I'm picking out my clothes, making sure I have all of my school supplies. When I'm waking up and eating a healthy breakfast to start the day. Is with me. When I'm getting on the school bus or I'm driving to school. When I meet my teachers and new friends in my class. When I'm playing with my friends at recess. When I'm finding the right school bus to ride home, the right school bus to ride home, or I'm remembering where I left my car. When I'm telling my family about my day at school. When I'm praying at night and thankful for my family, my friends, and my school. Great.
Love is with you, and we want you to know that. To each of you, we offer the gift of this special charm that you can clip onto your backpack or put in your pocket.
Here you go.
It will remind you of the love and support of this beloved community that is with you no matter where you go. We want you to have a fantastic year. You are so important to us.
Let's all be in prayer together. Please join me. Spirit of life, God of love, as these learners begin their studies, we ask a blessing on their backpacks in which they carry the books and the notes and perhaps a laptop, the markers and pens and pencils that they will use in school. Bless all who teach in the coming days and weeks and months. May they inspire the learners under their care, give them energy and creativity and love. Bless all school administrators that they may be faithful stewards of the resources entrusted to their care. Make them fair and merciful, able to do their crucial work, and do it in a spirit of grace and compassion. Spirit of life and love, may all of us here seek every opportunity to grow and to learn in the spiritual classroom that is life itself. Bless all the learning that goes on here at West Shore Church, all the Sunday morning classes, and for all ages of learners. Grant that we may all see truth more clearly, love more deeply, and follow the ways of goodness throughout all our days. So may it be. Amen. Amen. What? All right. It is time to turn to our time of greeting. Children under 5 will go to room 6, and older children will go to the chapel. Kids are also welcome to stay here in the sanctuary. That is welcome as well. All right, let's greet each other right now as feels mutually comfortable. Let's do that now. Opening hymn. I invite everyone to rise. We're going to sing our opening hymn. We're going to sing our opening hymn right now. Look at the festivity of this place. I love it. But we're going to sing our hymn right now. Let's go.
Far beyond the grasp of hands, for light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. There find the key to nature's harmony in an architecture so entwined. Like the birds with fragrant grasp the sky and carry all the joy love expand. The message of peace will rise in flight, taking the weight of the world upon the knees. In the oneness of everything, peace is in the dance of breeze, astir before the first breath of wind is yet perceived. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Songs of life long past the touch of old are written in the earth ever living, and now to maintain the harmony gives to us all lives we're living. For the oneness of everything, still we seek to find a truth that we might understand and reduce to terms defined. Vast and immeasurable time and space are so overwhelmingly designed. Oh, passing years just might I know the faith that winters in the heart to be inborn in spring, to hear and to feel the pulse of life enters my soul as a song to sing. Hear the oneness of everything.
I realize that we have already done our welcome, but I'm going to take advantage of my position here to say welcome again and thank you to all of you who reached out to me during the last 2 months. In case you hadn't noticed my charming new footwear, I tripped down the bottom 2 steps at home and ended up with an ankle fractured in 2 places. I now support a combination of plates and screws that would make Ace Hardware very, very proud. But more importantly, I was the object of your caring, your cards, your emails, your texts. In case you ever wonder whether or not someone might appreciate a supportive message, trust me, they do. And I certainly missed my beloved community in person. Amazing what an impact a person's life that this community can provide. But the topic isn't me, it's meditation today. I think I volunteered to do this reflection way back last June because I knew so little about meditation. I have a good friend who actually has a meditation garden in the back. My own daughter gets up early in the morning in order to meditate. And all the cool people know how to meditate. How come I can't seem to get it together? I did go to a couple workshops in the 1970s. Remember those times, those of you my generation? I tried to learn how to meditate. There I was, in my muumuu and my love beads, trying to pay attention. I went with a friend who assured me that I could learn, but I proved her wrong. My mind jumped from place to place and just never stood still, so I gave up. And now I see that Reverend Makar is going to bring a meditation class to West Shore. Since I have had a lot of time on my hands these last 2 months, in preparation for this reflection, I thought I would see what meditation is all about. I had never really taken the time to study it, so I started where we all start, on the Google machine. And here are just a few things that I learned. First of all, just what is meditation? A dictionary definition would be the habitual process of training your mind to focus and to redirect your thoughts. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But what really interested me was that many studies have shown that meditation can have significant health benefits. Really? How have I missed this? But let me just point out a few. Meditation reduces stress. Mental and physical stress cause the release of inflammatory chemicals, which can disrupt sleep, promote depression, increase blood pressure, and contribute to fatigue and cloudy thinking. Meditation can control anxiety. Because of the reduced stress levels, anxiety can take a back seat. I wish I had known all about this earlier, as I learned the hard way that anxiety is not a condition to be scoffed at. It's real, and it's scary. Meditation may reduce age-related memory loss. Now you're talking. Don't all of us worry about memory loss, forgetting names, becoming a burden to others? Meditation may decrease blood pressure. I don't think I have a single friend who doesn't take some kind of medication for blood pressure. We all figure that it's at our age, it's inevitable. Maybe not. There are many other health benefits that may occur as a result of meditation, such as fighting addictions, improving sleep, and controlling pain. The studies confirming these benefits are many, many. I am just amazed that I have been so ignorant of such a resource. I would venture that my early failures with meditation colored my thinking, and it has just been too easy to write off meditation as my failed experiment. But now I'm thinking, it may just be time to try it again. And starting very soon, we at West Shore will have that opportunity.
Good morning. I am Kathy Strasser. Music director Dave Blazer asked me to speak on behalf of Pump Up the Volume, the current initiative to build our adult choir and support unique music programming. He asked me, he said, because I, like nearly all of you, am not a choir member. Heck, I haven't even played a note on my clarinet since 1968. Actually, I was a member of this church's choir for 7 years, many years ago. You see, I, like a lot of working parents with young children, discovered I had time for my daughter, my husband, my students, time for everyone except me, and I was vanishing. Going to choir practice was a personal lifeline, 2 hours a week of music, friendship, laughter, and learning, and a Sunday morning of growth and pride, helping to offer an anthem. I hung on for dear life, and I stopped vanishing. So it's been a long time since I've sat up in the choir loft, but I'm still being fed by the gifts of music our church offers. As the doors finally reopened for Sunday services, a response to a decrease in COVID cases, attendance was scant. Members were weary and wary. We kept our distance in the pews. I hadn't experienced actual live music in almost 18 months. I was stunned by what I felt when the notes of the prelude began and moved by the familiar hymns, even if we were only humming through our masks. A couple of months later, as COVID dragged on, I came to church on a Sunday afternoon to watch Peter Pan, the silent film version, accompanied by Dave Blazer's amazing improv skills on our refurbished Holt Camp organ. It was magical, and my COVID blues abated. A couple weeks later, Russia invaded Ukraine. Unthinkable. Again, I found myself at church, moved not only by being with like-minded people, but also connected to both local Ukrainians and those thousands of miles away, because the music offerings, including the Ukrainian national anthem, were all by Ukrainian composers. I pump up the volume with my annual pledge and my contribution to the Musical Arts Society that both help to support our choir, instrumental upkeep, musical scores, guest musicians, and innovative and talented leadership in the musical life of West Shore. Our morning offering will now be given and most gratefully received.
So we begin with an old story about a traveler who came upon a farmer hoeing in the field. Eager to rest his feet, the wanderer hailed the farmer, who seemed happy enough to come on over and talk for a moment. "What sort of people live in the next town?" asked the stranger. "Well, what are the people like from the town you come from?" the farmer asked, answering a question with a question of his own. "Bad. Troublemakers all. And lazy? The most selfish people in the world, and not a one of them to be trusted. I'm just so glad to be leaving." "Is that so?" said the farmer. "Well, I'm afraid you're going to find the same sort of folks in the next town." So disappointed, the traveler trudged on his way. The farmer returned to his work. Sometimes later, another stranger came from the same direction, hailed the farmer, and they stopped to talk. "What sort of people live in the next town?" he asked. "Well," replied the farmer, using the same question as before, "what were the people like from where you come from?" "The best people in the world. Hardworking, honest, friendly. I'm sorry to be leaving." "Fear not," said the farmer. "You'll find the same sort in the next town." That's the story. And I do want to affirm that sometimes the town you might be living in is objectively toxic and you need to leave. But as the story suggests, often enough, the only kind of change that really needs to happen is a change in one's attitude and one's heart. Home is not so much a place that is out there as it is a place in here, and you carry it with you wherever you may go. Pagans and New Agers like to say it like this: as within, so without. A Zen Buddhist gem of a story takes us deeper into this insight. A university professor comes to ask a Zen master named Nan-in, comes to ask this Zen master about the Zen he is a master of. Nan-in then proceeds to pour him tea, and he just keeps on pouring that tea, and pouring until the teacup is overflowing with tea and is spilling everywhere, and the university professor cannot believe what is happening right before his eyes. Calmly, Nan-in says to him, "Like this cup, you have come full of all of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" Other Buddhist stories use a different metaphor. Instead of calls to empty one's cup, they talk about monkey mind, and how we just get lost in our mental chatter. Sensations and emotions and thoughts come and go, and it's like the weather. It's like internal weather, and we are in their grip. We are immersed in them. We believe that whatever that weather happens to be, that's who we are. We believe that. There's little to no capacity to distance and just to hold whatever is happening in awareness. It's reactivity instead. Free associative pinballing from one negative thought to another. Other times it can be a fixation on a worrisome thought or a memory of being hurt. Whichever metaphor we happen to use, full cup of tea or monkey mind, the point is that the Zen can't get in. The Zen cannot get in. Zen meaning richness, aliveness, vitality, happiness, creativity, compassion, transformation, peace. It can't get in. It's because the space of the mind is already full of mind stuff, and that mind stuff is primarily anxiously self-referential. Why did she look at me like that? what did he mean by those words exactly? Why did I do the thing that I just did? Is my nose too big? Am I too short? Do I sound weird? Are they liking this sermon? The story of me, says mindfulness researcher John Kabat-Zinn, is often a depressing story and a fear-based story. We're like driving the car with the emergency brake on. That's what he says. Just one example. You are traveling, and you find yourself in a place that just amazes you. And this is the thought that pops into awareness. This place is beautiful. I want to come back here someday. But you're already there. You're already there. Do you see, already you are separating yourself from the full pleasure that you could be having in that moment if only you could be here now. We are driving the car with the emergency brake on. John Kabat-Zinn's findings on all of this are echoed and extended by that of happiness researcher Matt Killingsworth. People are indeed less happy when their minds are wandering than when they are in the moment, be here now, and this is true no matter what might be happening in that moment. He says, people don't really like commuting to work very much. They don't really like that. It's one of their least enjoyable activities. And yet they are substantially happier when they are focused only on their commute than when their mind is going off someplace else. Did you know that? It's amazing. But what's also amazing is Matt Killingsworth's findings that people's minds wander. What do you think the percentage of time would be? 47%. Did you think that the percentage would be so high? Yes, some of you are like, 98%. 47% of the time, the cup is over full and no Zen can get in. 47% of the time, that inner monkey is screaming up a storm, is swinging from tree to tree. 47% of the time, we've lost track of the inner home where the inner heart is and the soul thrives. And we take this inner sense of homelessness, and we put it out there onto the world. We project it out there. And so the world out there feels homeless to us also. So what are we going to do about that? So let's turn to a figure who is practically synonymous with this question and its answer, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. Listen to this story he told 2,500 years ago about acrobats. Acrobats. Two of them. An adult male teacher and a little girl student performing every day on the streets. Their act is this. The teacher balances a tall bamboo pole on his head. The little girl climbs to the top of that bamboo pole and stays there while the teacher walks around. Do you got that image? Can you believe that? Actually, it's like, wow. Okay, but these are the acrobats. This is what they did. And why do they do that? Well, so they can earn money to buy food. They are terribly poor. But how can the acrobats maintain concentration and balance and prevent an accident? Empty the cup, right, is of course the answer. Calm down that inner monkey. Find home within. Be here now. Be fully mindful. Be here now. But say more. How exactly? How exactly does this happen? Well, one possibility is to do as the adult teacher in the story, the one who's balancing the tall bamboo pole on his head. He's got an opinion about this. He says to the little girl, I will watch you, and you will watch me. That's his solution. But it's not the Buddha's. It is not. From the Buddha's perspective, it is a form of self-denial. Really, that's what it is, a form of self-denial. It implies that personal development is unjustifiable self-indulgence. I will watch you, and you will watch me, says the teacher, the adult teacher to his student. And that's like any of us saying today, there is so much to do and so little time. And so how dare I take some of that precious time away from you, and I am going to take that precious time and I'm going to go to a church class. Or I'm going to go to a meditation class. Or I'm going to go to my yoga studio. Or I'm going to go somewhere, and it's going to be for me, for the sake of my soul. I want you to see how this is yet another way in which we drive through life with the emergency brake on. When we equate self-development with selfishness and personal indulgence. And I want you to note how very, very carefully, I want you to note how in the story, it is the adult teacher who has succumbed to this falsehood. Age is not necessarily synonymous with wisdom. The Buddha puts the right answer in the little girl's mouth, who says in response, I think it would be better for each of us to watch our own self. To look after oneself means to look after both of us. How else are we going to learn to be more present in the moment and therefore more at home when we are already mind wandering 47% of the time? How are things going to get better just by continuing to do more of the same? That is like trying to sharpen an axe by chopping wood. If we are ever going to find home in the present moment, we must have the right resolve of the little girl. This is what the Buddha says. And then there's Abraham Lincoln, who said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening that axe. Right? I want you to think of your day. How much time is given to sharpening the instrument of your awareness so it can serve you well as you use it? Do you allow yourself enough spiritual growth time? Do you? Or is the voice of that adult teacher in the Buddha's story booming away in your mind, telling you that it is self-indulgent and shame on you? I am starting my mandala meditation class on Sunday mornings in the fireside room starting September 11th. It's going to begin at 9 a.m. It will never go past 9:45 a.m. since I've got this thing I need to get to by 10:15. You know what I'm talking about? You too. But 45 minutes is going to serve us perfectly well. The goal is for the class to be a place and a time where experienced meditators and people completely new to the meditation experience and people who feel like failures around meditation, that we can all come together. We're going to build community, experience different kinds of meditation, and most of all, here's my highest hope, that the participants are going to take their meditation practice out into the rest of their week. We're going to explore that together, do that together. Let's find that home within so we can take it wherever we may go in the outer world. But I want you to know something up front, that there is going to be no spiritual bypassing going on in this class. No spiritual bypassing. I want you to take a look at this image, which will help me explain what I mean. See that meditator? Just blissed out, right? Right? Doesn't it look like that? Just blissed out. Having an experience of God, the divine, at one with the universe. Isn't that the common stereotype about meditation? Would y'all agree with me? that that's what's supposed to happen, right? Meditation takes you straight to the divine. And I'm not saying it can't happen. I think it can happen. There is a sense in which it is inevitable. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, founder of the Transcendental Meditation technique, believed that our psyches, the mind-body-spirit complex, that our psyches are like the ocean. And while on the surface it seems like there is an incredible amount of activity going on, but even so, at the depths of that ocean, there's absolute calm and stillness and peace. Meditation is about teaching the mind to settle so that it can experience the peace that is truly and already deeply there, already deeply in you and me. With continued practice, what happens is that inner calm that is truly at the depths, it remains even when we are not meditating and we're just doing our regular daily thing. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Only 3 people nodded. I mean, what's happening out there? Are y'all like in your seat going, oh my God, that sounds horrible! Ah! But let's go back to that spiritual bypassing thing I was talking about. The spiritual bypassing thing happens when our goal in meditating is strictly about becoming instantly blissed out. When that becomes our goal. Spiritual bypassing is when we discount the meditation experience or the value of meditation if we aren't having those blissed out experiences. But instead, we're having other kinds of experiences instead. Now, what do I mean, other kinds of experiences? Well, go back to the Buddha's story about the 2 acrobats. Remember how the little girl has just said that her teacher ought to watch himself and she will watch herself. And in this way, they're going to take care of each other. So the adult teacher is going to watch himself. And considering that he is an adult who has probably gone through a lot of hard knocks in life, like all adults, what most likely will he be watching? Well, most likely one of those things will be his poverty and what he thinks about that and what he feels about that, what it makes him feel. The poverty that forces him to walk up and down the street with a small girl balanced on a tall bamboo, balanced on his head. Maybe it makes him feel humiliated and enraged. Maybe it makes him feel sad and worried. Maybe it makes him feel all that and just more. If he can allow his hurt to be there without trying to judge it or push it away, he is going to have sufficient presence of mind to maintain concentration and balance. On the other hand, that little girl falls. That little girl goes flying if he spends needless energy telling himself that he is wrong to feel what he is feeling, or maybe he indulges himself in victimology and feeds the demon of resentment. Again, that little girl goes flying. Either way, he loses focus and can no longer take care of that girl. Emotional weather is tearing through him, and he is just adding fuel to the fire because he can't hold it mindfully. This is the sort of suffering that makes a person definitively homeless because we are refusing to be where we are, warts and all. We are rejecting the life that we have. We are demanding in futile fashion that what is should not be so. Every one of you here today has a bamboo pole balanced on your head, and some kind of little girl is up on that pole, and you and I are charged to take care of her. The life circumstances that have conspired to put all of us in this challenging position, it might hurt as much as the teacher in the story hurts, or maybe even more. But there you are, and here I am. Here we all are. And it's just hard. And we cannot afford to refuse to be where we are. We're going to drop that girl. The only way out is through. I first saw that phrase on my therapist's wall. And I think I said to it, "Screw you," pardon my French. Actually, the language was much worse than that. But it's true. The only way out is through. And a key source of power that can take us from here to there is compassion. With meditation, you learn compassion in spades. You know, I've been telling a lot of stories from other people, and I want to share one of my own. It's from years ago. I'm in a yoga class. I'm in one of those pretzel-like shapes, yoga poses, and surrounding me are a bunch of other folks who are in those pretzel-looking yoga poses. But maybe their pose is not as good as mine. That's where my mind goes. I guess a part of me has decided that if I'm going to do yoga, it's going to be competitive yoga. Got to be competitive yoga. So the voice in my head says, my Adho Mukha Shavasana is so much more fully expressed than his. My Vrikshasana is so much better than hers. I can do Shirshasana and he can't. And so on. You know, I'm given the Sanskrit names, right, of the yoga poses. Well, immediately following this, coming up and immediately following this, comes the judgmental inner voice. It shames me with slap in the face intensity. It says, "What is wrong with you? Are you crazy? Yoga is a competitive sport? Are you kidding? What's wrong with you? Ridiculous. Besides, you see that yogi over there? She can do Adho Mukha Vrikshasana and you can't. So much for you, Mr. Senior Minister Yoga Man." In that moment, the judgy voice in my mind felt like a crazed monkey with a baseball bat smashing away at my self-worth. It was a negative downward spiral that was unfolding. Ugh. But I was on my yoga mat, after all. And a yoga mat is a symbol of an intention to bring meditative awareness to whatever might arise in the course of a yoga session. Whatever, at all. The mat is the symbol of that. My teachers pounded that into my brain for years. Unrolling that mat and getting on it is a ritual way of saying, I give myself to the flow of my experience. I will be curious about it and follow it wherever it leads. And then something happened for me. I will never forget the feeling. A wave of compassion came upon me. A wave, a wave, a wave. A warmth. In that moment, I saw how my judgmentalism of others, my need for my yoga practice to be a competitive sport and for me to win, that only expressed how deeply unworthy I felt. And how that had happened to me because of various life events and people. It didn't matter whether those people hurt me intentionally or not. My judgmentalism of others and myself was simply the cry of my soul that only wanted to be seen and valued and loved unconditionally without regard to being useful to others or convenient to others or acceptable to others. And then I thought of people who disgusted me, whose religious and political convictions and allegiances disgusted me because they seemed so unreasonable and unethical and cruel, or at the very least, cynical. And I wondered about what must have happened to them and how deeply they must feel unseen and abused. So much so that the only politics that seems to speak to them is a politics of resentment. And the only politicians they seem to vote for are those who excel at stoking resentment. I found myself feeling compassion for them. It didn't change my mind about how I saw their positions as wrong and unethical and destructive, but that impulse to demonize them, to make them less than human, that got much less smaller. It got healed. What is that saying? What is that saying? Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. You heard that saying? Meditation teaches us first and foremost compassion, at least that, starting with ourselves, and then we extend it to others. Maybe bliss will come. Maybe an experience of God or goddess, a glimpse or a full-on immersion, maybe whatever your chosen language is for the divine, maybe, but definitely compassion. All of us are in a really hard place in America right now. It is so easy to be anxious. It is so easy to be afraid or angry all the time. But there is a sweet little girl. She is balanced on the bamboo pole on your head. And she is your family and friends. She is the things that bring you alive. She is definitely this church and all the people here who love you. And that little girl on that pole, it's you. It's you. It's your heart. The Buddha says, don't drop her. Allow the present moment to be what it is. Be in this moment. Be here now with an open heart, with compassion. There can be no other way to happiness if happiness is to be found. Stay curious. Every moment, the mystery unfolds. Empty your cup so the Zen can come in. Amen. Amen. Let us now sing our closing hymn. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. Number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
We have a last minute thing, news that we got to share with you. And Diane and Karen are going to come up and they're going to do this thing. You guys give them a round of applause because they're great. They're great.
All right, really quickly before we go, thank you everybody that attended our hospitality training yesterday. We had a great turnout. We're so grateful for all of you. We did a little thing. We had a little contest and a game, and the winners are in this, or the tickets are in here. Reverend Anthony's going to draw a name, and you will win this fabulous plant from Native Ohio Landscaping.
Betsy Robertson.
Betsy Robertson. I didn't see her here this morning. Is she here? Did she sneak in? She's usually sitting there with Norm and Chris. All right, we'll get in touch with Betsy, and she is the proud winner of this beautiful plant. Thank you.
That's awesome. So I want to remind folks to join me in the chapel for the sermon chat at noon. It's just this wonderful opportunity for folks to teach each other and learn from each other, to reflect on themes that came up for you in the sermon, or maybe in anything in the worship. So come join me at noon in the chapel. I want to also say one more thing, that if Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Doesn't work for you, you have other options here at West Shore in terms of meditation classes. Grace Durfee leads a Zazen class Tuesday mornings. Reverend Mary Gregolia leads a class on Thursday mornings, and there's yet another meditation group that meets once a month on the fourth Thursday. So if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, give the office a call. And now, words from Tibetan Buddhist monk Pema Chodron, who will be one of the teachers that we learn from in my meditation class. 2 quotes. The first one, if we learn to open our hearts, anyone, including the people who drive us crazy, can be our teachers. And then the second quote, you are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather. So may it be. Go in peace.